What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. A while back, as far back as, summer of 2023, we found out that Insomniac is working on a AAA multiplayer game. This is before we even had, the unfortunate incident where Insomniac was hacked. And we later discovered, according to the press who reported on these materials, that this game was more than likely going to be an X-Men game, seeing even the contracts that Sony signed with Marvel and a lot of other details. The reason I wanted to point this out is a game like that I am excited for. It's a game that it provides this sandbox where X-Men players or X-Men fans can come in and play as different X-Men characters. It's going to have that, I think possibly co-op and maybe, PvP if there is. And this is going to be a sandbox that can actually, I think, accentuate a lot of the different cool stuff that you would not necessarily see in a video game, but you'll more than likely see, say, in a comic or in a cartoon or animated series or movie. So this AAA game, I've been asking everyone around, saying, is this AAA game that's being worked on, that is going to be a multiplayer game, if in fact it is an X-Men game, which I think it is from what we saw, if that game is going to get the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League treatment. Because, again, something was quite revealing when people were talking about, Suicide Squad here. And somebody said this about it. They said we all did. But it's like Insomniac Games following the rave reception of two Spider-Man games with a mobile clicker cash grab. Because many of you know that this particular game that's coming from Insomniac, whatever it may be, which I think it's going to be superhero-based, X-Men-based, is part of their plans to unveil 11 live service games. And I wanted to go ahead and point out that before we even bother, that game will be received with so much joy and highlights all of the strength and all of the praises of Insomniac is going to be sung. You're going to see the press basically tell you, oh my gosh, Magneto, you can't even touch him. This is so great. I can't believe how strong he is. When the press was telling us the Flash is too fast and he's so annoying and all that stuff, you're going to see the very huge contrast in the way people are going to behave about this. And I wanted to make this video, and I'm going to basically, hopefully, save this video as well, because when the time comes, I'm literally going to be laughing, doing the comparison of the reception of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League as a live service game, as comparing it to the way the people have, pretty much people are going to be looking at the Insomniac game. Also, there's going to be the one that says, oh, because the game is going to actually be good or because the game is good, when in reality, it wasn't necessarily only the fact of the quality of the game with Suicide Squad. It was also the fact that it was a live service game. Let's make sure that we make the distinctive. Yes, there are people who don't like Suicide Squad because it's a shooter, because it's not a melee combat game. I am aware of those people. I'm aware of those concerns. I've read those comments. We've talked about them here on the channel. There are also the people who don't like it because it's a live service game. There are also those who even mischaracterize games like Gotham Knights as a live service game when it's not. But we're going to see the goalposts shifting, the mental gymnastics eventually. On the other hand, I'm excited for a game like that. I'm hoping that that game actually comes sooner than we even, would consider. Because I think it's kind of, contingent on the Wolverine game, which unfortunately that also got hacked and leaked. And so at the end of the day, I'm hoping that they probably start to fast track these plans and figure out a way to start getting more studios working on these projects so that we can kind of see these superheroes in different lights. Because, sitting and making one game about one superhero, that's going to take you a lot of time, to do. But the challenging part, too, is if you think about it, they probably should have prioritized this X-Men game before trying to sell Spider-Man 3 as 3 separate games. You know that, right? For the people that are here on Reddit saying that because they're following the rave, whatever, it is exactly what they plan to do. They plan to cash grab you with the next Spider-Man game. The difference is they're going to sit there and say, oh, it's a single player quality game, but they're trying to sell, according to the leaks, if this is true, the Spider-Man 3 game in 3 parts. I like the fact that gamers are capable of reading in between the lines, looking at the broad picture. And another thing that kind of bothers me is that gamers are at the same time quick to cover their eyes to reality when it's staring them right in the face. Many gamers claim that these single player games are the best thing ever, but they still necessarily don't pay attention to the greed that a company can inherently have and not provide good value for its customers regardless, like PlayStation did with the Spider-Man 2 game, which seemingly was cut short and basically sold as an 11-hour package for a premium price without features like New Game Plus, game being bugged out, the developers basically not letting their, I think their reviewers talk about any bugs, and the game getting a critical acclaim, rating on Metacritic, even though it's not supposed to get that if it has bugs, because critical acclaim is not easy as an achievement for a video game. So all of this is very evident in my eyes that there is, in my opinion, a bias, and the DC games are not going to be getting a fair shake because for some strange reason, they're not connected with PlayStation, and if they were, they'd probably get preferential treatment. So again, this is a weird conundrum to be in, and this is something that you can already see unfold. And I'm hoping that at the end of the day, we as gamers were able to dial in and use logic compared to hypocrisy when we're looking at these things. And we can come back and maintain that, the historical perspective of things is quite wild, because gamers are so funny for the most part. And I remember people telling me that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was going to be a better game than Gotham Knights, even though I told them, guys, they're not the same game. I remember this one guy, he was on Twitter mouthing off. I can guarantee you he's hiding in a little corner right now because he perceived Suicide Squad wrong. He thought it was going to be this other game that was like the Arkham games. I remember that conversation on Twitter. He had a Tottenham Hotspurs, logo. Sorry, Kurt, but he was a Tottenham fan. And I remember very carefully that I was like, man, this guy's a Spurs fan? Oh my gosh. And, thankfully you're a Spurs fan, and I can tell that it's not a Spurs fans thing. It was just that gamer themselves that was misunderstood about the project. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys' input, and let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Peace out.